making us part of your mornings.
What do you guys have for us today?
Get your rush on with Jay Brooks and the Morning Rush on 98.7 Kiss Country.
7:37 on a Tuesday. Feels like a Monday because a lot of people had yesterday off, but and we have an ice storm going on, or at least an ice warning, they say. That's went from 6 p.m. this evening till noon today, and boy, I tell you, Pete, that's why I always say it's a wait-and-see forecast.
When you're messing around with 1 or 2 degrees difference, yeah, it's hard to know. You got to prepare for the worst and hope for the best, I guess.
Well, it looks like most of it, looking at the radar before we went on, it looks like moving out of here, moving out of the area right now and heading north. But Minnesota seems to be having southern Minnesota not too bad, but the farther north you go, it looks like it's a little bit more dangerous on the roadways.
Yeah, I think we dodged a bullet here. I've talked with our shop supervisor this morning from the Mason City and Hamlintown area, and things are pretty good. With the temperatures, with all the rain we've had, and with the temperatures being this close to freezing, there could still be icy spots. But right now, I think we dodged a bullet anyway. Now, of course, we do have more snow coming in later tonight and overnight into tomorrow, so have to be ready for that and be ready for your morning commute tomorrow morning. Give yourself a little extra time, and once now we've started the new year, maybe it's time to make sure you've got all that winter survival kit and everything ready in your vehicle.
Yeah, and don't forget that we're talking about that weather later on, like you were saying, Pete, with that snow, but the winter weather advisory starts at noon today and goes until noon tomorrow, so that's something that we're talking about. But plow's been out and about. I haven't looked to see if any were out this morning. I was on the website, didn't pay attention if there's any cameras on any of the plows out. They really don't have to be out today, do they?
No, we had a few out overnight. There was some slush that we had on the roads, and then we had crew come in at about 4:30 to hit some of the 2 lanes as well to make sure that they were clean with the slush off of them and everything. But yeah, other than that, like I said, we're just seeing the rain right now, and hopefully it stays that way so we don't have to deal with the ice, because I think we'd all rather have to wait for the snow to hit later than have some ice underneath it. But again, with the conditions the way they are and with the temperatures as close as they are to freezing, there could be icy spots. So make sure you're aware of that when you're driving.
And remember, don't use your cruise control.
Oh, yeah, that is such an important reminder with any chance of ice whatsoever, because you want to be the one in control of the speed, not the car. And if you hit ice with that cruise control on, it can really get to be a tricky and scary situation pretty quickly.
Yeah, and of course, with the weather that was anticipated to come in, a lot of schools canceled, the 2-hour delays. We got those on our website, 987kisscountry.com, and you can always text the keyword snow to 641-494-2547. But quite the storm that they were talking, which, like I said, fortunately we weren't able to, well, not able to, but we didn't get hit by it.
Yeah, like I said, just a few degrees different, and we'd be talking a lot more dangerous conditions right now, obviously with the roads, but with the way the wind's blowing, and if we would have had however much ice, they were talking 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch on power lines and trees, we'd have a mess. So I think we can be pretty happy that 2023 came in the way it did.
Yeah, like a lamb, not like a lion.
Yeah, well, that's just March, isn't it? Or is that the whole year?
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose whenever we're supposed to get something really big and major, then yeah. This is the first part of the year.
Yeah, maybe we'll take that as a good omen.
Yeah. So as I look, Pete, and we talk about this all the time too, as far as the website or the app that you can get on your phone or 511ia.org. I use that every morning whenever a severe weather thing happens, and you can use that year round. And and it tells you exactly what's going on with the road. Like Highway 9 right now, roadway is partially covered with mixed snow and ice or slush. That's kind of way. And then Highway 18 partially covered with ice as well. So you just got to be careful.
Yeah, and I think once we get daylight and we're a little bit more sure of the temperatures, you're going to see those turning over to seasonal. But again, right now we want to make sure that people are still aware that with the temperatures as close as they are to freezing, with all the rain we've had, with the slush, things can still be a little slippery. But again, hopefully best case scenario, within an hour or two, you'll see those roads turn to seasonal.
Yeah, which means they're going to be turning green on your map on the 511ia.org. Off to the west, way west over Sioux Center, Orange City area, Pete, it says it looks like some of that is maybe kind of cooling down a little bit, and it's completely covered in snow and icy bridges over that way. So
Yeah, well, again, just a couple degrees difference makes a huge difference. And real quickly too, I know we've touched on this before, but when those roads do turn to seasonal, you got to remember that it's seasonal, which means it's
right.
still winter driving. There could still be some spots, but overall, they're in pretty decent shape.
Well, and then of course people traveling north. Minnesota has the exact same thing that Iowa does for the 511ia.org. Minnesota has the 511mn.org. And that gives you the road reports as well. And it looks like Interstate 35 cruising north is pretty good for the most part. There is a spin out up there by Bancroft. And if you get off the interstate, it looks like there is some heavy ice on roadways. So the farther north you go, it looks like that's where it all ended up. And we were right on that line of, like you said, those temperatures.
Yeah, like you mentioned, a little bit further north, pretty typical to see it a little bit cooler. And yeah, they are probably taking the brunt of this. I think they're supposed to get, 8 to 10 inches of snow up there, possibly in the Twin Cities area and all that. So again, I know we've got some snow coming in. You're seeing 2 to 3 to 4 inches or whatever, but hopefully the brunt of it has missed us, and we can take a deep breath and wait for the next one.
Yeah. Looks like the snow is coming down and raining upon us better than the Minnesota Vikings are.
Yeah, that was ugly.
I didn't even respond to Packer friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, when you have a very, very, very marginal defense, you cannot give up return yards for touchdowns. You can't let a first and goal on the one turn into a field goal. Stuff like that kills you when you are winning marginally. So, yeah, that one was ugly.
We threw more touchdown passes to Packers than we did our own team yet on Sunday.
That's not a good way to approach a game plan.
No. I thought we were supposed to throw to our team member, not the opposing team member.
And then when you're on your third string center and your right tackle is out, and yeah, it's not ideal right now, that's for sure.
No, it's not. I mean, it was if anybody watched the game, it was pretty pathetic. But at one point, I thought it was kind of funny. The commentators actually made me laugh. Normally they don't, because I get all upset with them because I just hate the way that they, put Aaron Rodgers on this pedestal, which I think I don't like Aaron Rodgers. He's arrogant, and he's not as good as everybody thinks he is. He's really, Pete, you disagree, I'm sure. But
I do. I'll give you the arrogant. I do agree with that, but I think he's a pretty good quarterback.
Well, so does every other announcer out there, but I'm probably one of the only individuals that think he's horrible. Yeah, if you put him on, look at Matt Stafford when he went from the Lions to being a Super Bowl team and how good he looked. You put Aaron Rodgers on a team that doesn't have anything, and he's not going to look like he does with the Packers. They got a good offensive line.
I disagree. I think he's a very good quarterback. And if you go back and look at Matthew Stafford's numbers with the Lions, his passing yards were still like in the top 5, top 10 in the league. He just had a defense now and more people around him, so he was winning with the Rams. But no, I think I'll agree with you in the arrogance with Aaron Rodgers, that's for sure. But he's still a pretty good quarterback.
Of current quarterbacks today, the best two that I think, Brett Favre, and he was a Packer, but I was a fan before he was a Viking, and I called it years before he became a Viking that he would be a Viking. But I love Brett Favre. Brett Favre was fantastic. I think he's great. And I thought I'd never say this about this guy, but Tom Brady is probably the best that I've ever seen.
No, there's no question in my mind. None whatsoever.
Yeah. So, football. What a game. What a
game. Highs and lows.
There is. But it's always fun to watch unless your team's getting really pounded like Vikings did.
Hey, Hawkeyes won a bowl game. That's kind of what I'm hanging my hat on over the weekend.
And I went against them. Never bet against a Hawkeye, right?
Not in the bowl games. They're usually pretty good, unless you have to go up against Christian McCaffrey and Stanford. That was ugly several years ago, but right. I think that's pretty ugly no matter who goes against Christian McCaffrey.
And if anybody was in a pool over the weekend, whether college or for the bowl games, we need to start doing college bowl picks or something, Pete, because all you got to do, everybody's going to be a winner except for me.
Then
I'm
yeah,
a-
I definitely want to compete with you then.
Oh yeah, just go. You just ask me who I'm going to pick, and then you go opposite, and bam, you're in the money.
I will keep that in mind. We'll have to
Okay.
talk before the season next year then.
Right? Yeah, we have to have a pick 'em or toss 'em type deal. I don't know.
Sure.
Pick 'em or take 'em.
Sounds like you take them and then we pick them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're picking the apples off the apple tree there because I'm making it so easy for you. I'll give you the ladder to hit the high ones.
There were some amazing games this weekend. That was it the Cotton Bowl with USC and Tulane.
Oh
That
yeah,
was a crazy ending.
that was. I know it, and I lost that one too. I did.
Yeah.
It's only about 3 games that I got out of the whole entire pool that I was in.
That's not very good, Jay. There's a lot of bowl games.
Well, that's why I don't get on FanDuel, and that's why I don't bet on college games.
That's understandable.
Professional NFL, I'll get all but like 1 or 2 wrong, and I can never hit that big money
Yep.
for a
Keep
$10 bet.
chasing it though, don't you?
I know, $10 bet, 90,000. That's a pretty good return on my investment. Can't get that in my retirement fund.
No, that'd be pretty hard to duplicate.
Yeah. Oh boy. In the meantime, thank goodness it's about over because the money's getting a little low in the account right now.
Yeah, that's when time for the season to be over. When you see that that dwindling like that, it's time to just lick your wounds and go back to what you were doing.
Yeah, I'm down to $5. I got $5 in my account, Pete. That's
Well,
how
if you started with 15, that's not bad.
$15.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I started with
you started with more than that.
Yeah. My next question is going to be to my tax guy. Hey, can I write this off
Yeah, you let me know how that goes.
for the loss that I had this year?
You let me know how that goes.
Hey, you got to try. Never hurts to ask, Pete.
It never hurts to ask. You're right.
Pete, have a great week. All right.
All right, you do the same.
Baby abandonment is a tragedy that is happening all over the United States, and it doesn't have to happen.